All right. Yeah, let's talk about Anvil. So, um, the Anvil Union is basically we're starting a beer type community that is focusing on people that are into like fitness, drinking beer, or one of those.
Okay.
So,
Gotcha. It's bringing together the two worlds of people that enjoy beer and people that enjoy working out.
Yeah.
Cool. I love it.
So, ultimate goal is, yes, like become a brewery, um, and sort of like join it with the gym here in Winder. So we're working towards that, but before we get there, we want to create a following of people.
Build brand.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
build brand and also like build, I guess you could call it clientele.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get the podcast going. We're trying to get people together pretty soon. We're going to have some cool stuff coming out, like a beer club, and
Cool.
we're going to have people like come together, share what kind of beers that they enjoy. We're going to do that at the gym and virtually online. And then we're also coming up with cool brewery trips. So we'll be getting everybody together that's interested, going to Athens, Atlanta, Greenville, Asheville is in the works.
Awesome.
And then eventually, maybe, who knows, like we'll be going to Czech Republic or Germany or Belgium, something like that. That's big vision type stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
so this isn't just Winder based. Like this is like Metro Winder. Like just anybody around can join in on this, or is this specific to people close by to the gym?
Right. So anybody in the area who wants to join and get in on like the events or anything that we're doing, like, can absolutely sign up. We're going to have a whole portal online where people can sign up. We'll have different levels of subscriptions or club memberships, and people can have access to certain things, including content online, and then invitations to trips and things like that. So
awesome.
Yeah. But we're like, that's what we're doing right now, building up to that. And then we're also behind the scenes working on getting approval to start the brewery in the gym. So
gotcha. So early stages, building brand, building community, building, just interest into it. And I think that's smart. I think that, while you have the time before you get open, before, you're putting all of your time and energy on that, now's the time to do that.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. I like it. I like the idea a lot.
Thanks, man. Yeah. So let's dive into the podcast. So we've got Adam Fiddler with us here. Adam.
Hello.
Adam is the co-founder of Bangarang Brews. Super exciting. They're located in Flowery Branch, Georgia. Adam is an accomplished home brewer as well. He's won several awards in that realm.
Thank you.
And Adam is a really good friend of mine. Just an awesome guy. So thanks for being here.
Back at you. We've been in the same homebrew club now for how long have you been in the
Oh man, I started in like COVID, so it's been like 6 years.
Yeah.
So
right, yeah, we've just known each other for 6 years and love brewing. And I don't know, like I tell everyone that I learned everything from that club. So the club just means so much, but also, like, it's weird to say, but it's like, it's more than a club. Like, we've got true friendship in that club. Like, it's just a good group of guys, and yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super cool when you get a lot of people together that are into the same hobby, but also have like different tastes and different styles.
Exactly.
So
it's like a wide range of people too, like from all sorts of different backgrounds that do different things. I mean, I was talking to one of the owners at Inner Voice Brewing. His name's Josh, and he was saying that there are 3 different types of brewers. There's the chemist, the chef, and the engineer. And I feel like that's our club. Like
Oh
that,
yeah.
our club, and it almost is like in thirds too. Like I feel like there's a third that are engineers, a third that are chemists, and a third that are like chefs. And it's really cool to have that entire group of people come together and talk about brewing from those different perspectives.
Yeah, absolutely agree. It's cool that you mentioned that because I had never really thought about it, but like we do have a great mix of people, and
Mm-hmm.
it's especially helpful like when you get stuck on something and you're not really familiar with the whatever science behind it or whatever. Then
Yeah.
there's someone in there that knows the answer or has been there before.
Anytime I have an issue, first thing I do is go straight to the club and be like, "What's going on here?"
Right, right. So, Bangarang Brews,
Mm-hmm.
super exciting. You're starting this brewery. Tell us a little bit about where you are in the process.
So we're uh, still early. It's weird to say that we're early in the process because we've been going at it for over 2 years now. So it's me and my business partner, also best friend. His name's Josh Roberts, and we've been friends since. I mean, we've known each other since elementary school. We've been really good friends since high school. Lived together at UGA, and that's kind of where this started. We, I mean, I've been in love with beer since college, and so we've talked about possibly starting some sort of business. Josh is very business minded. He went to Terry at UGA, and like his goal was always to open something. Just wasn't 100% sure what it was going to be, and then we started brewing in 2014, and it was us and our closest group of friends, and we all pitched in like $50 to $100 to get an all-in-one electric system that didn't really exist back then. It was one of the first ones, and it was from Australia. It was a Kickstarter, and like we had to wait several months to get it, and we finally got it. And we all got together and we brewed a beer, and they hated it. They hated the whole brewing process. Like it just like the entire time, like they kind of went off and did their own thing, and I was just kind of nerding out, like, oh, this is so cool. So the system became mine, and I just continued to brew beer, and they got free beer out of it for basically forever now. And at first, which I feel like most home brewers, your first couple batches of beer are not great. My first several batches of beer were not great, but I was hooked, and so started kind of like chirping to Josh, like, if we open a brewery, and he was like, well, maybe make some good beer and then we'll talk. And so kept brewing, started entering competitions, joined the club, and that's when like I started learning way more stuff than I was learning, just using YouTube and online forums. And there's so much more information out there now than I feel like there was back then.
Mm-hmm.
And so having the club was really just, I don't know, it changed everything. And so started entering competitions, started getting feedback, and just really trying to, figure out the minuscule things to tweak to just make sure that, my beer is getting better and better. Finally started winning some awards, and then I, started chirping to Josh again, like, what about now? And he's like, well, I don't know, like we'll see. And then kept winning more awards, and he was like, okay, yeah, now's the time. And then it became a question of, if we're going to do this, where are we going to do it? Because this is shortly after the lockdown with COVID and everything, and breweries started shifting. Like you started seeing more brewery closures, and the market itself was just not as certain, not as sure as it was, and it became an oversaturated market and everything. And we're noticing these things as we're making this decision.
Yeah.
Do we want to do this? And we just knew that location was super important. Josh is from Flowery Branch. Like his whole family is from Flowery Branch. Like he has a great great grandfather who has like his picture is in the town hall. And so like we already had ties to Flowery Branch, but also it was just the perfect place to try and do this because the population out there is booming. I feel like that Metro Atlanta, like that sprawl has just been slowly spreading out. You're probably feeling it in Winder as
Yeah.
well. And it finally reached Flowery Branch, and it just blew up. And so there's this massive population, and a lot of it is like Gen X and millennials. So it's like young families out there that currently don't have anything like what we want Bangarang to be. They don't have a brewery, but also like there's a few restaurants and some great restaurants out there, but there's just not a lot. And so I feel like we're really going to be providing that space for that area. You obviously have Gainesville, you have Swanee, you have Buford that now have spaces like that, and there's just this hole that's missing. What I hope we will be providing with Bangarang. So
yeah, going to be connecting the dots there.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I know I'm like going on and on and on about this, but basically we realized this is the perfect place, and so we made the necessary steps to go to a few members of the city council there, and we're like, hey, we're thinking about doing this. What do you think? And they were like, yes, like absolutely, whatever you need, we will make sure it happens. Yes, yes, yes. And we're like, all right, let's do it. And then as soon as we started, raising the funds, or not as soon as we raised the funds through friends and family, and we're able to start like putting things into place. And that's when we start going to city council to finalize this. We had a building, we have a landlord who had signed a lease contract and all of that. And then we go to city council, we're like, hey, we want to do this. And they're like, well, we need to change a few laws. And that's where things started. I said it's been a little over 2 years. That's where things really got started. So it took several months to get laws changed, and then it took several more months to get zoning, and it took several more months, with just other things that have prolonged, like an architect that didn't work out, and different things like that. So it's been a long process, but we're still very much going for it, and very much like very excited to make this happen. So right now, we're through all of the permitting and all the zoning. We're through all of that, and now we're starting the construction process. But even through that, you get one thing approved, you start doing it, and then the next thing has to be approved. And so it's a little bit of like hurry up and wait. And this whole process has been a little bit of hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
But it's happening, and we're excited, and I know for a fact that what we're making is going to be awesome, and I just can't wait for people to see it.
Yeah. So obviously it's a really long process.
Yeah.
Like you've been at it for a couple of years now. So, but like, was there a point where you were like, this is getting serious?
I've been like, I don't know. I've kind of always been this way, that like once I set my mind to something, it's what I'm doing. Like and so there has never really been a moment where it's been real since the beginning, to me, but like there's never been a moment where I've really second guessed anything, or kind of like doubted the process. There have been frustrations, but like it's been from the beginning, this is real and I can't wait. And then there are milestones that you overcome, and you're like, it's even more real now, and it gets more and more exciting along the way. But from the very beginning, it's been, this is real, this is happening. And it's probably around the time that I announced to Chicken City that like this is happening. If anybody's interested, and I'll keep you all updated with things. Like when I started talking to people, that's when it was real.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. We're drinking some of Adam's beers. We just had a Czech Pale Lager, and it was amazing.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
You want to crack open another one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sweet.
Got several different ones going. Started light. I figure we'll keep going light and then work our way towards some heavier beers.
Awesome.
I got this is Kolsch. This is a beer this is my love letter to my wife, is how I describe it, because this is her favorite beer that I brew, which is funny because you were saying, Gabby, your Kolsch is her favorite beer. This is my wife's favorite beer, and it's something I've made for at least 5 years, and it's a beer that I really hope is on the menu. But we're going to let the local population kind of dictate what is up there. If this is not the type of beer they're into, I'm totally fine with it, but I really hope it is.
Same. I love a good Kolsch, man.
Yeah. It's a hybrid beer. It's kind of how I describe Kolsch and cream ale. It kind of fits the middle ground between ale and lager, and so I feel like it kind of appeals to a wide range of people, but it's also unique in that it's that hybrid. You get, you know, the subtleness of a lager, the smoothness of a lager, but you still get the flavor and the punch that an ale can provide.
Yeah.
So enjoy.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh
I
yeah.
just love that style so much.
Oh man, so good. Like it, like definitely like a lager. It's very clean, but you do get a little bit of that, like, and I'm gonna call it like ale sweetness. It's not like super sweet,
Right.
but it's a little bit of that yeast character that adds a little bit extra.
Mm-hmm.
Really good.
Thanks, man.
So you like Kolsch, and you hope that's on the menu.
Yes.
What else do you hope you guys are going to sell a lot of?
So this is constantly changing. Like, we've been doing this for 2 years, and from the beginning, I'm like, oh, these are going to be my first 6 or 8 beers. And then 6 months later, I'm like, maybe not those 2 or 3. And then I, replace it. And it's just like slowly evolved. And a lot of that is dictated by what I'm in love with brewing. But I also try to make sure that, like, what I'm into is also what, the masses are into, which it just happens to coincide that that tends to be, hand in hand. And so it's part of what I love brewing, part of what I feel like is kind of trending, because I want to be able to brew beers that people love right now. And so lagers have been having a moment for a while now. Obviously, IPAs had, they haven't gone anywhere. It's not like their moment is over or anything, right. But there was a moment where IPA is what you found everywhere.
Half the menu.
Yeah,
IPAs.
exactly. And all different types of IPAs. I mean, there's a wide variety, and I'm a fan of all of them, but there was definitely a push towards the end of that peak where you just read a lot online, a lot from brewers especially. I feel like they've been pushing it for a long time, but eventually it seemed like everyone was like, okay, lagers, like let's bring back some lagers. And so that's I definitely want I'll rewind a little bit and just say, like, to answer your question, what is important to me is having variety. Like, I definitely wouldn't say I have a specialty. I'm not going to have a whole menu of IPAs or a whole menu of Belgians. I like variety. I like to be able to try a little bit of everything when I go to a brewery. And so I kind of want to, echo that through Bangarang. So, like I was saying, lagers, I went to Prague a few years ago, and I just fell in love with Czech Pale Lager and Czech Dark Lager. And since then, I didn't have any Czech Amber Lager while I was over there, but, anytime I see it on a menu, I try it, and that's what I'm into right now. I unfortunately didn't bring any today, but that's on tap at home, and that's all I'm drinking these days. But having, the variety within lager, but also having that on there, I've been thinking probably those 3 beers, a Kolsch, a hazy IPA, an American IPA, and a seasonal sour. Is kind of where I'm at right now with, a little bit of variety. I always want at least one amber beer on tap, just because I feel like there's a lot of breweries that I go to that have 0 amber beer. It's all pale or it's all dark. There's not a lot of middle ground. So I want that because I feel like there is a subsect of beer drinkers that, like, that's their favorite beer. And when you have one on tap, it makes them really happy. So having a Czech amber lager, or I've been using my Scottish export lately, and Vienna lager, like those types of beers, I just want to make sure I always have at least one on tap. But
I think like a lot of people, when they hear the word lager, they think of like American lager, but like lager is such a wide variety of beers.
Right.
Munich Dunkels, which are super dark. You've got your Mexican lagers, Box, American lagers. It's really a wide variety of.
There's just as much variety in lager as there is in ales. And so I think, I don't know, it feels that way. I've never counted them, but it definitely feels like there is that much variety. And Yeah, I mean, I feel like people or brewers, haven't gravitated towards them in the past because of the whole temperature thing. But and that kind of just kept brewers away from it for the most part. But for a decade now, that hasn't been the case, and
Mm-hmm.
brewers have been, dealing with, or not dealing with, but like brewing a wide variety, and so it's becoming more and more popular. It just seems like uh, the customer has kind of caught up with that and is now enjoying the lager as much as they were enjoying ales,
Right.
over the past decade.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, so going back to starting a brewery,
Mm-hmm.
in your opinion, what's been the hardest part of the process so far?
Oh man, patience, 100% patience. It's the things that I have no control over.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I truly believe that Josh and I are some of the hardest working people that I know, and that when we have a task, we get it done, and we're very just driven. And then we get to something that we have no control over, just for any a wide variety of reasons. And when we get there and it's completely out of our hands, and we just have to sit and wait, that is the hardest part. And that's something we've been told from the beginning, because part of what we did in the early stages is we talked to as many brewery owners and head brewers as possible. And over, like, there is not one brewery owner that did not tell us, whatever timeline you're thinking, double it or triple it, because it is not going to go at the time or at the speed that you think it's going to.
Mm-hmm.
And early stages me is like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. Maybe you couldn't get it done fast, but we will. And I was a fool. There's a lot that's completely out of your hands. I mean, there's local ordinances that take time to go through, because it has to go out to the public for a certain amount of time, or it has to go to attorneys and they have to deal with it, or if it has to go to, when it gets out of city ordinances and it starts to go to the building side of things, there's just so many different levels of of I don't know if I should use the word, but like red tape.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what it is. It
Yeah.
truly is just red tape, which I think that there is red tape in place for a reason. I try and see both sides of, like, at some point someone messed up and that's why this is here now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I don't know. I'm not the one that messed up, so don't make me wait. But
Yeah.
that's, I mean, it's just the process. It is
Yeah.
how it goes. And I understand that, like, that's just how it is. And so I have to kind of surrender, but me and patience are not the best of friends.
Yeah. Man, yeah, I'm looking forward to that whole process, because that's, because you're not just waiting on like the city and all that. Because I'm waiting on like landlord communication, and like it's just
Oh man,
like
communication. I
people.
didn't even say the word communication, but that, you'll message someone and they'll just flat out ignore you.
Yeah.
And then, you want to be respectful. So then you'll like text them the next day, hey, just double checking, ignore. And then you'll
Yeah.
call them and then they won't answer. And then
Yeah.
like a week will go by and it'll just be like nothing ever happened. Like they weren't ignoring you, that this is just how it is. And I don't function that way. I'm
Yeah.
very much like, if you need me to, for whatever reason, I'll at least tell you, hey, I can't do it right now. Like
Right.
for X reasons, X, Y, and Z, but it is just very little communication. I also don't want to sound really negative. Like I want to keep expressing how excited I am about this project, and like how everyone we've worked with has been great. And I'm so grateful that we've gotten to the point that we've gotten. It just isn't what I thought it was. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's where that any sort of like critiquing or feedback or negativity comes from. It just comes from my own impatience.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I am grateful for all of the work that has gone into this project so far.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the same time, I also think like if you've never done this before, like I think it would surprise anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Even though people told me,
Yeah.
even though like it was said to me, it's going to take longer than you think.
Yeah.
You just don't know the ins and outs of why it's going to take longer. So you're like, we'll see.
If I told people listening to this podcast right now, we're going to be open in late fall this year,
they'd laugh at you. They would laugh at you.
Like not having.
Right.
I might get an approval, but no.
Exactly.
That's not happening. Okay. So thank you for the encouragement.
Absolutely. And obviously everybody's different. Like we've seen other restaurants in Flowery Branch that were not even trying to get open when we began this project that are now open. So like every story is different. There's I mean, like I mentioned, having to change the local laws for Flowery Branch, that took I think 6 to 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that you may not have to go through depending on your city. And with our building being a historical building, that's another thing that like adds a layer to this. And then the zoning of the building, where it is, because it's a downtown historic district, that's another element that like added time. And then, you know, there's other things, but like obviously I don't think everyone will take 3 years to get open. You will run into things that you don't expect to run into.
Yeah.
So this fall it is a possibility, but it's based on my experience and seeing other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like you've taken the route of prioritizing what's important to you. You have a location that you really feel strongly about. It could have been easy to say, oh man, this is a lot more legislature, I guess, than I wanted to get into.
Right.
Let's try down the road.
And those are conversations Josh and I had along the way several times of like, do we want to consider another building? But we kept going back to, even when we were trying to find the right building, there were a few different options that we were looking at, and we kept going back to this one. It's right on the railroad tracks. It's right in the downtown area of Flowery Branch.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an open container law there. So like people can come over, get a beer, and go walk around if there's a festival. And that's another thing, is like being in the downtown area. Flowery Branch has a market every Thursday that like hundreds of people show up to. They have festivals, I think monthly or bi-monthly, that literally like people will park half a mile away and walk, because there's parking is difficult to come by over there, but like people will just park in a grass area because there's so many people that come to these festivals. And so like, and I mentioned this earlier, like location really is one of the most important things to us. So you're absolutely right. Like we just had certain priorities early on of like why we thought this was the right move to make. And it's part of why things have taken as long as they have.
Yeah.